welcome to episode 152 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is back from Vegas. How you doing, Warren?
Oh, yeah, I wasn't here last week, too. I'm trying to put the pieces back together.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, you know, after 4 nights in Vegas, you kind of forget where you are.
This is true.
Vegas was fun. We had a great time. It's a celebration of the 50th year of my life.
Which is tomorrow.
Which is coming up tomorrow. Yeah. So
happy birthday.
Today's the last day. The last day in my 40s and half a decade.
I'm already there. We're both
century.
There. Speaking of both, Mr. Jeff Gamet is back on the show. How you doing, Jeff? Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me back. It's great to get to hang out with you, Dave, and also to be on the show at the same time as special guest Warren Sklar.
Yeah, birthday boy. So
we didn't tell you we have to stay on this call until 12:01 so we can celebrate my birthday.
All right.
So we can't sing happy birthday to you yet.
You might be a little tired by that time.
This is a 4-hour podcast, so we'll be fine.
Oh.
I've actually done that before, and it is rough.
It's tough.
So, I can't get through an hour sometimes.
So we got some news here this week, and then iOS 14.6 hit the streets this week, actually, as we record this. And Warren and I have our new iPads. We're going to give you some reviews, and then we'll have insights from all of us. And yeah, there'll be lots of fun stuff to talk about, like we always do. So let's go jump into our news. Got a couple of news stories this week. Speaking of Zoom, we were just talking about Zoom, that when you hit the recording, that it actually announces that it's recording. But Zoom actually added a new support for the iPad Pro's new center stage feature. The Zoom app for iOS was updated to introduce that support for the iPad Pro models, the new iPad Pro models, and new software that adds integration with the center stage feature, which, if anybody doesn't know, as you move, it moves with you, and which is cool. And it was designed. Center Stage was designed with third-party apps in mind, so Apple is going to have the API available. So any other developers who want to utilize that can do it. I have not tried it as of yet because I haven't had a reason to have a Zoom call with my iPad, because generally I always do Zoom on my Mac. So, what do you think, Jeff? I think this is going to be a game changer for the iPad, the new iPad, anyway.
I agree. I think it's awesome. And I think it's also a sign that Microsoft really needs to get on task with Skype. I mean, here we are. Today's Thursday. So 2 days past the 14.6 release, and Zoom already has support for center stage. Yeah, that doesn't look good for Microsoft.
It doesn't. Although I was just watching an iJustine video, and she just, of course, she gets all the free stuff, gets unboxing a new Surface Hub 2S or whatever it was called. So Microsoft's doing something. They know where to get that social media influencer to talk about their products. But they better get their act together.
Well, yeah, but hey, at least they're good at getting their message out.
No, absolutely.
So well done, Microsoft.
Absolutely. So I assume, Warren, you haven't tried it yet. Because don't have too many Zoom calls.
First of all, iJustine is a little HOE, because she first, was all Apple.
HOE
everything was
HOT?
Apple. Both, but first she did this whole, she was only Apple, and all of a sudden I log into the Best Buy website. There's iJustine on the Best Buy website doing things there, and now she's doing Microsoft. I mean, the girl just wants free. Yeah, she just wants free stuff, and. I wouldn't mind taking her place if that could ever happen, but I'm not as pretty. What do I think about the Zoom thing? I'm with you with the desktop. I wish this came to the desktop, because I'm generally doing these things on the desktop. But it makes more sense on a mobile device, on an iPad, because you technically are moving around more from that than you would be a desktop or a laptop, maybe. I don't know. It should come to the desktop. It should come to all the other platforms. I think they must have an API. Apple must have a developer API that allows this to happen. So I'm assuming all developers have the capability to do it.
Yep. So I'm gonna try it out. Maybe, but I don't have too many Zoom calls. I always have Teams calls for work, so might be tough. But we'll see. We can find a way to do it. Next story on the Mac Rumors: HomePod and HomePod Mini to gain support for Apple Music lossless audio in future software update. HomePod and HomePod Mini will gain support for playing back Apple Music's lossless audio in a future software update, according to a newly published Apple support document. So that's official. At launch, HomePod Mini, as we know, was not supporting it. We had quite a debate about this. With lossless and Dolby Atmos, otherwise known as spatial audio, created an immersive 3D dimensional experience. In June, Apple offers subscribers what will be coming up soon here as the lossless tier, which I can't wait. I was just in the music app and I see they already have the digital music and the little icon ready to go here, but I don't think it's playing just yet. But despite support for Apple Music lossless and future software updates for the HomePod and HomePod Mini, the AirPods and AirPods Pro will not gain that support. In the support document, Apple explains the current Bluetooth doesn't support high quality, which we already knew that. It doesn't do that. But they do say the Lightning to 3.5-inch audio cable was designed to allow AirPods Max to connect to analog sources for listening to movies and music. But the AirPods Max can be connected to devices playing lossless and high-res lossless recordings with exceptional audio quality. However, given the analog to digital conversion in the cable, the playback will not be completely lossless. And Jeff, you did some awesome explainer video on your YouTube channel about lossless. What do you think about this whole crazy stuff?
Well, first, thanks for noticing the video. So go you, Dave.
Go you.
Okay, so not having lossless for AirPods totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said in my video, this is like trying to shove a sausage through a straw. You just don't have a big enough pipe for the data to go over Bluetooth. Now for the AirPods AirPods Max, it just seems like such a weird name, AirPods Max, because they're the big muff things that go over your ears. Anyhow, wireless for lossless there seems like a problem. But what I would love to try is to get a hold of a set of AirPods Max, and then can you actually plug in other audio cables, or does it have to be just Apple's own cable for that connection?
It's a lightning cable to it's a lightning cable to the headphone jack is what it is. So I think
that's it. That's it right there.
Right. Oh, so that's what they're giving you?
Yes.
That's what they give you. That's what they give you in the phone.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But we can totally work around that. That's not a problem. What I'm wondering, can you put a regular headphone cable into AirPods Max and then plug it in to
we're going the other way. So
3.5 millimeter headphone connector?
Yeah. So it's the same. So what I was saying is a lightning cable. Like the AirPods headphones charge, I think, with a lightning connector. I'm pretty sure. Unless it's not USB-C, right?
I don't think so.
How do you charge it? I think it's lightning, right?
I think it's lightning.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think there's a lightning. It's got to be lightning to a headphone.
So if you can plug a regular headphone cable into AirPods Max,
internet. Let's see.
why wouldn't you be able to then plug that into a DAC and have full hi-fi audio that way? Because the wired connection, that's the magic key right there. And if you can bypass Apple's own DACs, which go 24-bit 48 kilohertz. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, they don't go up to 96, as I recall. So it'd be 24-bit 48 kilohertz for Apple's own DACs, which honestly, you're at that point, you're beyond what human ears can hear anyhow. So there you go. That's plenty good enough. And there are some audio files right now that are going, Jeff, what are you saying? But yeah, I mean, if you can get a proper wired connection to AirPods Max, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to play high-res audio, because the headphones themselves aren't having to drive the audio file. They're just simply playing what's being sent to them at that point. Yeah. I would love to see this tested. I just don't have AirPods Max to try it myself.
It looks like Warren just put it in our private chat here. He put a link for an Anchor 3.5-inch male audio cable to Lightning connector. So it looks like that's a true-out cable as opposed to an adapter.
Right, that's what it is. You plug one end into the headset, and you plug the other end into a device that has a
proper DAC in it.
DAC, yeah.
Yeah, a DAC or a headphone port. Like, from what I understand, like our Max with the headphone port will give us the lossless, right? If a 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. And is that like any pair of headphones? Like any pair that's not wireless will give you that?
Yeah, because at that point it's not the headphones. It's the digital to audio converter in the phone that's handling that whole part for you. So then if you're not hearing parts of the audio through the headphones, that just means that they're headphones that don't have a very wide dynamic range. But so crappy headphones, you're not going to hear good audio from them anyhow. It doesn't matter what kind of DAC you have. So so at that point, if this cable, all it's doing is passing the audio part, and it's not doing any processing on the digital file, then this who made that cable again? Anchor. Then this Anchor cable, you should be able to plug it into a digital to analog converter box and have that plugged into your Mac, iPhone, or iPad. And listen to high-res audio, depending on the DAC, up to 24-bit 192 kilohertz.
But
I'm just glad.
Go ahead.
I'm just glad I didn't sell my HomePods, because I'm excited to see what that sounds like.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious as well to see what that does sound like. Because I thought for sure, as we've been talking about the last few weeks, is the HomePod's not going to be able to support it, but apparently it does. And then, interestingly enough, Apple is still adding new features to the now retired HomePod. So, just going to be interesting to see where that goes. But we'll see here.
Isn't it amazing? Just real quick, isn't it amazing that they could broadcast wherever we're streaming Apple Music from over the internet, and that is not where you're losing the quality of the audio. The quality of audio is being lost from like here to my ears. You would think that they come up with a technology that could,
Yeah.
Well, they do have a technology that will give you good audio quality over wireless, and that's called Wi-Fi.
Right.
But our headphones are Bluetooth, and that's not enough bandwidth.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's limitation because of Bluetooth. I mean, it's just very difficult.
But like Sonos before the old system that streamed Wi-Fi, right? That's one of the first ones to do that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Sonos Move behind me here, and that's over Wi-Fi, and I'm streaming music. So yeah, but the ones the old Sonos that had the controller. It didn't use Bluetooth. They didn't have Bluetooth at all. So I think that was the first Wi-Fi type system out there. Yeah.
And I'm surprised more people aren't doing that.
Yeah, it is surprising. So, all right. Well, we had a bit of a debate here with the lossless, but I'm glad to see it that they're going to add support to the HomePod, and like Warren said, and Jeff as well.
I didn't debate anybody.
Anxious to find out how well it sounds. So. And the next two stories I just wanted to bring up, these are both related to the Apple TV. First one is in Mac Rumors, some new Apple TV 4K users are reporting 4K content incorrectly labeled as HD. A number of new Apple TV 4K owners are reporting that TV shows and movies in several apps are listed as HD rather than the expected 4K resolution. Based on some comments in the forums and on the Apple support community members, and as well as Reddit, the issue can be found on native Apple content accessed through the iTunes movie and TV show apps, but not the main TV app, while a video on third-party services like HBO Max and Netflix is also affected. So the possibility is HDMI cables could have something to do with it, as it already has been ruled, but has been ruled out. But some users simply replace their previous gen Apple TV 4Ks with the newer set-top box using the same cables. The older models doesn't exhibit the same problem. So, that's interesting to see where this is going to go. And they said the problem can be replicated in tvOS 14.6 and in the latest tvOS 14.7 beta. So it's
horrible. It's horrible. I think people should return their Apple TVs, and Apple's doomed because
that is true.
This doesn't seem like this is not a huge deal, to be honest with you. But
no, but people have to find have ticklers with this kind of stuff, and oh my God, it says HD. I mean, and the normal human can probably not even tell the difference. I mean, that's why I kept my HD and I kept my old 4K. I'm not gonna be going around out and updating my Apple TVs anytime soon because they work perfectly fine.
Yeah, just like the lossless audio, I can't really tell the difference between HD and 4K and lossless. Just give me my put a tablet in front of my face with any kind of headphones, and I'm good to go.
Well, to be fair, Warren, you're almost 50.
I know things don't matter. Like maybe when I was 20, I would definitely want that 4K, but actually, the 4K is good because I can't see anymore. Turning 50, I need everything as big as possible.
Absolutely. So, and then another story about the Apple TV, our friends at iFixit did a nice teardown, as they always do, on a lot of great stuff. And it shows that it's very easy to repair the Apple TV, but the Siri Remote battery, very difficult to replace, as the teardown shows. iFixit has released that teardown here with a video. And as with previous Apple TV models, the entire plastic shell of the device is transparent IR light, allowing the Siri Remote to be used at any angle. And the large fan inside the Apple TVs is not connected with a cable to the logic board using 4 metal contacts, but instead makes disassembly even easier. And like I said, I know iFixit's awesome. If you ever want to see what's inside of your devices, you go to their website. They're the best, and they have the best tools too. And then they also said the Siri Remote, the battery is located in the bottom half with the circuitry taking up the top half. And to get inside, 2 screws have to be removed from a panel on the bottom and of the remote where the lightning port is located. But iFixit found that it's not possible to access anything meaningful here without removing even more screws elsewhere. So I could say don't bother. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that the Apple TV remote, like every Apple TV remote before it, is ultimately a disposable product.
Like that one? Ooh.
Yeah, that one right there. And they're not devices that I have ever expected to be user repairable, which is unfortunate, but there you go. But hearing that the Apple TV is easy to work on, okay, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It even says in here the click pad and the buttons had to be removed with brute force. So that's not a reason why don't take it apart. It's not worth it.
Yeah, don't take it apart.
Any thoughts, Warren?
I'll keep this in mind next time I try to fix a remote, rather than just throwing it away. I've never opened up. I fix a lot of computers, a lot of electronics. I have never had to need or want to actually fix a remote control, and this will continue that trend.
But that's why we have iFixit to get us the answers. So
that's right.
All right, let's move on to the topics this week. As mentioned at the beginning of the show, and I hope everybody has upgraded at this point, iOS 14.6 was released earlier this week as we record this, May 24th to be exact, and it was released to the public. The update isn't as significant as 14.5 was because that preceded it, because, of course, 14.5 added the privacy stuff, but still introduced a number of notable new features. And some of the highlights that would include, of course, we just talked about it, the lossless and spatial audio support that's introduced in Apple Music. I don't think we have to talk too much more about that. But Apple Music is going to show whether it's Apple Digital Master or it's going to be lossless or if it's Dolby Atmos, and it'll be identified with the logos related to that. And Apple's entire catalog is going to have that option, as we said. The other thing that they did is they expanded on the Apple Card. The Apple Card family is going to be designed to now allow an Apple Card to be shared among your family members. So if you have others in your family, apparently you put your Social Security number in, and they can build up their credit if you so choose. Acting as a co-owner. And that's also letting parents to share the card with their children to make purchases and just giving them limits. So that's actually smart. But really good. They better put a big limit on it because they might be buying lots of stuff here. But the co-owners have to be 18 years or older. So and they'll have a combined spending limit and the ability to see each other's spending. So I think I'm going to keep my Apple Card separate like I've been doing with the wife. So I don't need to see what I'm spending and her spending. So
well, if you want to buy a present for each other.
Exactly, that too. It can't be secret.
You don't want them seeing the purchase.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lord, I would love to be a fly on the wall in your house.
Yeah, me too.
It's not that exciting.
So, and they also there's also mention that the result, if you have two cards, it's going to result in a higher shared credit limit, and with the lower APR of the two accounts will be added to that account. But they aren't going to release that feature until July. So for right now, you can't merge your accounts. Yeah, good. Some enhancements for the Apple Card. Yes, and Apple Podcasts subscription support. They added that to the podcast app, so allowing us podcast creators be able to collect subscription fees for their listeners. If I do this, it'll be another story. I don't know if I will, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what people are going to be doing. It looks like NPR, Los Angeles Times, Sony Music, and Wondery are planning to introduce some premium content. It'll be available in 170 countries. What do you think, Jeff? This is going to be interesting to see where that goes, huh?
It'll be interesting. Yeah, because you have a lot of content creators that are already doing premium content outside of the Apple ecosystem. So if they decide to add this in, now they have to maintain two premium feeds, which, I mean, it doesn't have to be a big issue, but it can be a big issue. But still, I mean, just the whole thing with making it easy for content creators to start adding premium content just right in Apple's ecosystem. That is pretty cool. I think this is going to make premium content a lot more accessible to podcasters that may not have the resources that some of the big players do.
Yep, for sure. And then AirTag and Find My, of course, they added that in 14.5, but now in the Find My app, you're going to be able to put an email address in lost mode. So if so when it's in lost mode, the AirTag, you can now add that email address for contact purposes. Prior to that, the only option was just to enter a phone number, so they added that. And
so my YouTube video is already out of date? Great.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah, you have to do some edit there. AirTags will also show a partially masked phone number of the owner when tapped with an NFC compatible device. Mm-hmm. The voice control, and we were talking about this last week, Jeff, about all the new accessibility features that were just added. I haven't even tried this yet. I want to try this. That the voice control accessibility option, once it's enabled, can now unlock your iPhone for the first time after a restart using only their voice after installing 14.6. I got to try that.
That's so cool.
I don't know if you've tried that yet. So
I haven't had a chance yet.
Me either. So we'll report back. And then some bug fixes, which you kind of expect. With any release, unlock with Apple Watch may not work after lock iPhone on Apple Watch. They've fixed some bugs with that. Reminders may appear as blank lines. Call blocking extensions may not appear in settings. Bluetooth devices could sometimes disconnect or send audio to a different device during an active call. Well, I could expect that, which is what I have in my AirPods here. And iPhone may experience reduced performance during startup, so they fixed all those bugs. So good bug roundup of fixes. Definitely recommend going out and doing your updates. But we know Warren is already on beta 14.7. So if we talk about 14.7 beta that was released actually on the 19th, so it was a week ago. There's no new changes from what I can see. Wouldn't you say that as well, Warren?
No, I don't see much changed. And with WWDC coming up soon, yep. I don't think there's going to be much more exciting changes coming.
Yeah,
I'm thinking this is probably the end of the road for 14 as far as new features go.
Yeah, it's just going to be bug fixes, I bet. But I'd be surprised before. They've had concurrent versions of updates going on at the same time a lot of times, at least the last few updates there have been. So.
Updates, but not really feature updates. Like feature updates come up with the big ones at this point.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's 14.6. Go out, get it. You're going to have, you'll probably be happier and there won't be as many problems here, but we're going to go on and actually move on and talk about the iPad Pro. The iPad Pros were shipped out to everybody out in the last week or so, and both Warren and I have received our iPad Pros. I have the 11-inch and 256 gigabytes iPad Pro, and Warren has the 12.9-inch, right? You got the golden one there. Which one did you get?
It's 256. I think I put a case on it before I even know what color it was. I just picked because they're hard to get, so I just picked one. I think it might be space gray, but I don't feel like taking the case off right now to figure that out. But it's 256 gig, 12.9.
Excellent.
That's interesting. I'm curious. Why did both of you go with 256?
That's my good number. It fits all my pictures. It fits all my pictures and my music. If I want to do that, I've run out of space with 128. I haven't went 256 yet.
Yeah, but I've always had 256 for the last 3 I've had, and it's always been more than sufficient space-wise for me. But luckily I was able to spend some time with both the 2018 model before I shipped it back to Apple. Actually, I just shipped it back yesterday, and the 2021 model that I have now with the M1. And I did, of course, you have to do some geek benching. So I geek benched the model here, and I do notice a substantial difference in performance jump between the two. I did a Geekbench score through a compute, and the metal score for the M1 iPad Pro was 21,110, and you went down to the Geekbench score of the iPad Pro with the A12X Bionic was down to 11,133. So it did have a pretty good jump in performance. I do notice this. It is zippy. I mean, I do notice the speeds. It's much more quick in reaction the way you're getting into the apps. The other thing I totally notice difference in the screen. Even though the 11-inch doesn't have the XDR like the 12.9 one does. Comparing those two, there was just no comparison. This one is far superior with the much more crisper image than the previous model. So, and what about you, Warren? What some of the things that stood out for you with the 12.9?
I didn't do any benchmarks, but the speed. I mean, it seems better. I mean, I think if you threw a 2018 in front of me and a 2021 and didn't tell me which one was which, I may not know the difference because the 2008 and 2020s are fast, and I never noticed them not being fast. Obviously I noticed the difference in screen size, and I'm hoping some spouses don't notice that. I also
your bank account.
No, not that one. So I noticed the screen size. The screen looks nice. It's much.
Oh yeah.
It's nice. I mean, it's hard to know how much nicer it is in like the 11-inch or the non-OLED or mini LED or whatever it is. But I put out a black wallpaper, and just to see how it looks, and it looks pretty good. Otherwise, I want to find a good use for it because it's a beautiful piece of machine.
Oh, it really is. What have you? I know, Jeff, you don't have a new iPad just yet, but what have been impressions of what you've been? What impressions you've had so far? What you've been reading and hearing? Well, obviously you're hearing new stuff from us, but maybe any thoughts on the iPad Pro, and maybe you might think about getting it.
Of course, I'm thinking about getting one. Excuse me. The reason I didn't get one is because the big thing for me is that the iPad Pro is my workhorse away from my desk machine.
Yep.
Which is funny to say because I have a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro sitting here on the desk right now, and it does leave the desk, but I tend to use the iPad away from the desk more. Mm-hmm. So if I was going out places or traveling a lot, I think that I'd have a brand new iPad Pro sitting on my desk right now. But as it stands,
right,
I just go to the living room and sit at the table and use my iPad there or on the couch. And the videos that I'm creating right now, because that's actually my video editing machine, they're rendering very nicely on my current iPad Pro. And I have the one from right before LiDAR. So what is that? The 2019? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was 2018. Right before LiDAR was 2018.
Okay, so 2018. So that's what I have.
The ones we both had. Yeah, we traded it.
Yeah.
We sold.
And it's rendering video just fine. I can do everything I need in LumaFusion without feeling like I'm hitting a productivity roadblock. So yeah, there's that. But that new screen is very enticing.
It is.
And
I'm happy with the 11. I mean, I know the XDR on the 12.9, as Warren says, is pretty nice.
It's nice.
But I like the size. I've always liked the 11-inch size screen,
me too.
That's why I stuck with it.
I'm more excited about what could be happening with iPad OS. Because I mean, if you're running LumaFusion on a 2018 iPad with the old chip, and you don't notice ID problems, it's not going to. There's nothing out there that's going to be taking advantage of this one either, because the old iPad ran everything perfectly. So hopefully, developers start making more intense programs, maybe made specifically for the M1 iPad that can't run on older ones, or maybe they'll do a little bit more Mac-like integration in WWDC, and make it more like a computer, especially with the trackpad and the keyboard, and have a little more options of multitasking and the file system is still wanky on it. You can still get to it, but it's not like a Mac. So I mean, if it gets to that point, then if you have a second almost real computer, it's nice. I showed you a picture on Facebook, but I have Jump Desktop. It's basically like a team viewer, I guess, but it's a little bit better. It's more for personal use, and I could I have my desktops at home, and I could, from anywhere with the internet, I could jump onto one of those desktops and run Mac OS or Windows or whatever. it looks great and it works great. And that's kind of the reason why I went to the 13-inch, because on the 11-inch it was just too small to do that. And this is big enough to see what I'm doing. So, it's that's what I'm hoping. But so far it's great. I love the size.
Okay. And there obviously been quite the debate about this iPad Pro being a pro, quote unquote, pro device, because it doesn't have, applications like Final Cut and, Logic Pro and all of that stuff. But, I think it's there. We've, and Jeff and I, we've talked about the apps like Ferrite and LumaFusion being, pretty solid apps that are already working on the iPad pretty well. But I don't think it's a game changer right now, because like Warren just said, I think the future of iPad OS is coming with probably iPad OS 15, and which we're hoping when we hear in a couple weeks with WWDC that we're going to see some more pro stuff on here with that, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Apple could come WWDC completely change where a new iPad fits in my priority list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm still in the return window in case iOS 15 is a bust. So,
yeah, but you don't have your old iPad anymore, do you?
No, but I don't miss it that much, to be honest with you. I guess I would get an iPad, one of the $300 iPads, until something good came out with the iOS at that point. What case? You want to talk about cases?
Yeah, well, let me just get to the other feature that they just added with iPad before we get to the cases here. The Thunderbolt is now supported with the USB connector on there. So I did plug my OWC Thunderbolt hub, and it works just spectacular. It's really fast.
Nice,
giving some good file transfers with the SSD drives, displays. Didn't do a try on display, but because I don't have the USB or Thunderbolt style displays just yet. So, you definitely see some improvements there, and yeah, it's really a good thing here as far as that improvement in itself. So, I'm looking for the future. This is definitely going to be an iPad I'll be hold on to for, like I did the 2018. I had it for 3 years. So,
never say that.
Oh. I always say that because you are the only one that I've learned my lesson with 20. iPads.
They could release. We don't know. They could release an iPad next year that does like crazy stuff that you're like, I have to have it. So
one with a holographic display.
It's gonna be holographic. It's gonna like transform. It's gonna like you could make it bigger or smaller just by pulling on the sides. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. As far as the cases that we work, I've got a couple links in the show notes, and I don't know which case you went with, Warren. You probably want to. I was going to go ahead and start with you. What was the case that you went with for yours?
I was waiting to get my hands on the Logitech one that Apple sells. It's a Logitech, and it's it's basically just the new one for the iPad, and it's really nice. I like the keyboard a little bit less than the Magic Keyboard that I have, but it's definitely thinner and it's easier to carry, but it's still heavy. To be honest with you,
so you did get that. You did get it.
Yeah. So I was able to. And so far so good. The one thing it doesn't do, which I kind of miss, is on the Surface laptops. With those, it's basically the same kind of keyboard, but with the Surface laptops, you were able to raise the back of the keyboard by putting the magnet up, so you have kind of a slanted down angle. You can't do it, so it's basically really flat to type on, so that's kind of annoying. But other than that, so far so good. Gestures all work.
Well, I would say I kept my Apple Magic Keyboard, and it works perfectly. That didn't change. I know the Apple Magic Keyboard for the 12.9 inch. If you have the old version, there was a slight difference. I think 0.5 millimeters of spacing, so it is going to not be perfect, but it does work. I had two other cases. I had the Moft. I don't know how it's pronounced. I know you have that. You have this, Jeff. The Moft stand and floating case, which is actually a pretty nice little case. I like the way it just floats out, and you can and I kind of interchange my cases. If I don't want to have the keyboard, I'll switch it over to the case and use that one. And that was, I actually bought that, and we both bought that when they were on Kickstarter. So so now they're out for sale now. I believe that case is like $54.99. I believe that the cost on that one is. And then the other case I really, really like was the Zugu, Z-U-G-U, the iPad case. And funny enough, I actually tried putting it on I still have the old case, which was the old camera. It fits perfectly. And in fact, it really, other than blocking the LiDAR sensor on the camera and how much time I'm going to spend, using the camera with the iPad, if I want to have that case, because the nice thing about that case is it folds over and it has the notches, and you can go to different angles, which I like a lot. And I tend to have been leaning towards using that case. I may use it for a while, see what I mean. Okay, so it's covering part of the camera. It really isn't, because it still will take pictures, because the two lenses are still visible through the smaller opening. I think that case will work fine. I have a link in the show notes to the new case. The new case isn't available yet, and I believe that case is like around $59.99. So I think it's a decent case. And I've got the Apple Pencil as well. You don't have the Apple Pencil, right, Warren?
No, I had one once and I never used it, so I never got one again.
Yeah. So I have that goes along with it as well. So, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the upgrade. I thought I was pretty happy that I went through it. The trade-in was very easy. And then the nice thing about when you do the trade-in with Apple, when you buy it and you add the trade into it, they automatically give you the deduction of the cost. You don't have to wait until you actually receive it, to get the cash credit, because you're using your Apple Card. And if they find something that's wrong with it, which I know they won't, then they'll deduct whatever the difference is, and they won't. I got $455 for it, so I think that was pretty fair for a 3-year-old iPad. So, and it's still a perfectly good iPad. The battery was kind of starting to go a little bit on it. It wasn't staying charged as long. Like this one, I'm still using it. I let it go all day here, and it's about 66% on this one. So that was a good experience for me too as well. So overall, like I said, I'm pretty solid with this iPad, and I'm looking forward to doing some more work on it and keeping it going here. So, did you have any other thoughts on the iPad Pros and on this, Jeff?
I really like where the iPad is headed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and we keep getting closer every year to my dream setup, which is I switched to a desktop only Mac and an iPad Pro, and I can do everything I need on the iPad Pro. And we keep getting closer to the day where I feel like I can actually use my iPad Pro as a replacement for my MacBook Pro. We're not there yet, but I can almost see that light at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting close. One thing the iPad never did right, I don't think, is the Mail app is not as good as the macOS Mail app, which I use a lot. It's just much easier to manage.
Yeah, I'm with you. There are some serious limitations.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, what if you want to have your digital key? You can't do encrypted email.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even just a viewing of it, like the unified mailbox on the, you kind of have it here, but like if you want to delete in bulk, junk mail, trash, things like that, it's a lot easier on the Mac than it is on my iOS device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Other topic I wanted to hit on, but as long as we're still talking about iPad, here's the Apple Pencil, and how we use it. I find I like the Apple Pencil. I find it easier to actually do any writing. I like the fact that on the Notes app where you can actually do writing. And we talked about this I believe on Mac Voices the other night, that we were just talking about this with using Notability and GoodNotes and Notes and the capability, because Kelly Kelly Gamont brought it up. She's not thinking about getting a pencil now because she now has the new iPad. So, but Jeff, I know you're an artist. You like using the Apple Pencil for that reason. And what are kind of the things that you do to use the Apple Pencil with it?
But besides art, I write with it a lot, and that would be primarily in like note-taking applications where it makes more sense that I'd be using a stylus because I'm probably doing other things at the same time besides just making words happen. So using Apple Pencil's much easier for that. And I have found that at times it's actually a really nice pointing device on my iPad.
Yeah, I agree.
I use it not exclusively, but a lot in LumaFusion. Some of the controls for working with your video content are really tiny, and if you tap in the wrong place, you may just undo all the work you just did. So I end up using an Apple Pencil for tapping all this control. Look, I'm just sitting here holding it. I just realized.
Plus, finger smudges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get the smudges.
That's true. You don't get the smudges.
That's why I would do it. I use stylus when I can because that thing is just a smudge magnet.
I do clean my iPhone or iPad screen a lot.
So do I.
Yep.
In fact, outside my door right now, there's a screen protector for it. Amazon just dropped it off, so I'm going to pop one on. Actually, I'm going to see if I can because I don't know if it's going to fit with the Logitech case because it's very tight around it. So I don't know if it's going to work, but it was cheap, so we'll see how it goes.
I think another cool thing too is that the iPad's ready to go when you want to take notes, because as soon as I go to my iPad and I tap the screen, it automatically brings up the Notes app and I can start writing a note, and it automatically translates your writing right away. So as soon as you put in something, it's going to be able to for the most part to decode what you write, and the Notes app is pretty accurate. I know a lot of people are huge fans of the Notes app. I'm a big Apple Notes app user for both on the Mac and iOS and iPad OS, and that's kind of cool. It does that, and it's very easy to do. And they even have added a lot of things like features like taking screenshots with your with the pencil. You don't have to do the power and the volume up button to do it. You can get it enabled real easy with the pencil. So it's really come a long way, I think, from the first one. I definitely like this second generation the pencil compared to the first gen, which was that ridiculous having to put it in the lightning
first
connector.
Generation,
and it didn't roll off. It didn't roll off the table.
It doesn't roll because it's got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm
That's
good at
true.
dropping this thing all the time because it slips out of my hands a lot of times. But
and you don't have to worry about losing this. I'm probably one of the only people in the world that actually still has the end cap for a first gen Apple Pencil.
So consider getting the pencil if you have an iPad. I think Jeff and I for sure will recommend it for good use. I know Warren, you didn't like it so much, so.
I'm artistically challenged, and my handwriting is terrible. That's the reason why I'm in computers, so I don't have to write anymore. So, this is not for me. It's not my jam.
Yeah. All right, so then let's go move on and talk a little bit about the Apple TV's new Siri Remote, which I like bringing this up in my face here. And look at that! I got this, as I showed on camera here. It's interesting to say the least. It's going to take a little getting used to. I got so used to the first gen Siri Remote with the touchpad on it that it's going to take a little bit of time of getting used to it. It did took a little time to sync it. At first times you have to push the power button on here to get it to sync, and I still haven't spent a lot of time as far as is it working with the power for the TV when you want to turn on? And I believe there's also, we won't have time to talk about that today, but there's ways of getting it to work with your home theater receiver too. But I could tell you that the touchpad's very similar to what the way the old iPod was many years ago, and the center part of that touch is really nice. Volume controls, and it's responsive. I mean, I think it's got nice heavy feeling to it, so it really does just feel solid compared to the other remotes. Of course, I've got the Function 101 remote, but that one, of course, doesn't have any Siri capabilities. So they put Siri on, the button on the side instead of it being, so you're having to hold down a button. You just push the Siri button itself. It's got its own dedicated button to get Siri to enable, and I do have an article in the show notes talking about how to get you controlling your TV and receiver, and goes through the steps here as well. But it does it. I'm happy with it. I mean, again, it's $60 to buy it, just the remote itself. So it's a little pricey, but I wanted to give it a shot and try it. And I don't think it's going to be as hard to lose, although some people are already. I think someone had already created a 3D printing case for it, so you could put an air tag inside that case for this remote. But
I saw that
it definitely has some weight to it, and I like that because holding remotes, you want to have some, have a good feeling with it and see how it goes. So, but overall, I've been pretty pleased with it. So, I know you guys haven't jumped on the bandwagon just yet with the remote or a new Apple TV for that matter. Any thoughts? I'm
still on my HD right now. So yeah.
I've got an HD one room and an old the original 4K in the other two rooms, and I don't even have 4K TVs, so it's kind of pointless to have a 4K Apple TV. So
it's tempting with the output to the HomePods with the Dolby Atmos. Yep. Is that what it is? So I mean that would probably be the only reason I would do it if I was going to do it.
Yeah, and as far as getting the remote goes, I think the new remote is very compelling, but I have a Harmony Elite,
right?
And
for now you have a Harmony.
For now, right?
Yeah. Well, as long as Logitech, or who owns them now? Is it still Logitech?
Logitech.
Yeah, but they're not making them anymore. So.
They're not making them anymore, but
they have to support
the back end still works.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is that if they decide to shut down the back end, they'll do like Pebble did, where they let another company just like an open source group take it over.
Yeah, I have the hub, the Harmony hub. And their remote, which it was one of the first things that worked really well with Alexa. It just got a TV turned on when you wanted to. You could change the channels with voice. I constantly use my phone as a remote for that's the only way I control my TV is basically through the Harmony app on my phone, which is perfect because it's always with me. When my wife falls asleep on the other remote, I have a remote to turn it off I'm happy with what I have. But again, if the 4K Apple TV and the new remote might be my future if I decide to play around with the Atmos. That's about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely see where it goes when it comes to that. So, I did notice that the remote settings, when you get into it in the Apple TV, it does give you some flexibility of changing it the way it responds. And of course, now that it has a power button to control components, I still haven't had a chance to spend the time. The article in the show notes from 9 to 5 Mac is going to give you a bit of a guide. But I thought it was a good compelling reason to have this remote.
You could try to sell. You could try to sell the old one. Yeah.
No, he's trying to find it. It's in his couch somewhere, probably.
The old remote that came with your Apple TV.
No,
it's obviously nice. It's a collector's item.
Yeah, the old one. You could compare it.
The super old. I have like 4 of them laying around my house, and like
the little white one.
The little,
Yeah,
well,
the
no,
white
the,
one,
the
yeah.
silver ones. They're the silver ones that were between. I don't have the Apple TVs, but I have the remote silver.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then there was an article here talking about Apple TV a little bit. Now I think about it. This is this article from Mac Rumors was how to stream audio from your TV's input to the HomePod, because the new second generation Apple TV 4K is capable of relaying audio from a compatible TV to the HomePod, even if you're not using the Apple TV. So this allows you to stream audio from a TV connected game console or other set-top box straight to Apple's smart speakers. And then they go through a whole setup process here, being able to do that. And you can go into the Apple TV app, Apple TV settings app, and then go to video and audio, and you can select the default audio output, and it does give you the option going through play a television audio on the eARC is the set or the ARC for the different types of settings, and I believe this is in iOS or tvOS 14.6 that you could do this. But it does give you there's some more capabilities. So they are doing some expansion, which I'm excited to see. The remote started, and as well as some of the other stuff on the new Apple TV that's out there as well.
That audio feature sure would have been nice to have, say, like a year ago when Apple was still trying to sell the big HomePod.
Yeah. And actually, that's reason number 2 why I might get the new one, because very rarely do I watch TV through the Apple TV. I watch it through TV, cable box or whatever. So I've always wanted to be able to output the regular TV out to the HomePod. So that's compelling, to say the least. That's only with the new one. It only works with the brand new one, right?
Right. It's a second gen, right?
Yep.
Second gen 4K. So, one thing I forgot to mention earlier about the 14.6, I wanted to make sure I mentioned here, the Apple Watch, the Series 3, if you're owner of a Series 3 Apple Watch, which is pretty old at this point, and on using 14.6 and Watch 7.5, the folks who update their device to the new version of the Apple Watch OS are prompted to unpair and repair the Apple Watch from the iPhone during the update process because storage space constraints.
It's just a return your watch and buy a new one instead.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm saying is the Series 3 is kind of a little thin here with being able to handle that. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that it's. Apple did recommend this. They're actually recommending that you unpair and repair the Series 3 who are having issues here. So
I've got two thoughts on that.
Yeah,
the first one is that already. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Holy crap! Seriously, you have to essentially factory reset your watch to be able to put an update on it. But the other thought is, holy crap! Apple is supporting a device that's old enough that they have to give you a workaround to actually install the operating system. Who else is doing that?
Right.
They could have easily said it's not supported anymore and not put the update on the
They could have, but instead they're saying, hey, you can do it if you're having a problem. Here's the workaround.
My friend has either 3 or 4, and even before all this, I've had to do this because he didn't have the space on it, even though there was no music on it. He had nothing on it, but there was not enough room for the update. So I had to unpair it, reset it, and then do the update, and then pair it back up. So, yeah. Yeah,
so I'm very surprised to see that. That's not typical Apple usually, but they continue to support older devices like this with the lack of space. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that this is something that they could expect to do to get it to work. So keep the customer happy. I guess that's what it is, right?
Buy a new watch. It's old.
Yeah, it's very old.
Get the SE. What's the cheap one now? Is it the SE? Yeah, get the SE. Yeah, it's probably time.
Yeah,
get it.
definitely.
Get it. Time. It's probably time.
Get
Yeah, we weren't saying anything, Warren, because we were afraid that we'd only encourage you.
That was an unintentional joke, by the way. But go ahead. Go ahead. Encourage me.
I don't think we have to encourage Warren to buy new things because we tease him all the time.
No, I'm telling other people. I'm telling other people to buy new things. It's a little different.
But they aren't going to listen to you because they only buy them when they want them when they really need them.
Oh, please. Only stupid people. Every smart people buys new ones just because of the fear of there's just FOMO of not having that new thing.
All right. I think we come to a close of this episode. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com where you will find all the links to all the ways to listen to us. They are there. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Jeff Gamet, thanks as always for being here. Where can everybody find you?
Thanks again for inviting me on. I seriously just have so much fun with both of you. But I'm easy to find. Gamet, Twitter and Instagram, and youtube.com/JGamet for my videos. And Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live. Thursday afternoons is the big show, and then Friday mornings is the Mac show, and then sometimes here I kind of get around.
You do, and we always love having you here. So thanks for being here, Mr. Warren Sklar. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on the internet somewhere, but I usually use this time to just say thanks to the guests, thanks Jeff. It's always fun to have you. And I never know who's coming up because Dave sends out an email to me, and then I have to look at the CC or who else is on that list. And I got excited. I saw your name. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good night.
Well, and I was glad that you're going to be on because that meant you're back in town.
Right. I am. So yep. So when I'm not in Vegas, you can find me on the internet. If you really want to find me.
Of course, Mac to the Future Facebook group. Make sure you go out there and join up. We've got the link in your bio to come join us. We have a lot of fun out there.
People are excited. They got their new toys and they're talking about it. And some of them are asking questions because they want to buy the new toys. And it's a fun place to hang out.
Yes, sure is. But all right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed doing it. And we'll talk again soon.